Your United States Air Force presents Tops in Sports. This is Harry Wisner. What you're about to hear is a transcribed program featuring the outstanding personalities in the world of sports. Their most exciting moments, their outstanding plays and thrills. These are stories that will live forever as tops in sports. In a moment, the story of Oscar Robertson, one of the nation's top basketball players. But first, here is a message of interest from your United States Air Force.
Ignition. Main stage. 4.
Listen to the language of the aerospace age.
0.
Yes, that's the new sound of our times. Perhaps your voice could be a part of it if you can measure up to the aerospace team, the U.S. Air Force.
This year, several thousands of select young men will start their careers in Air Force Blue. Soon they will be qualified technical specialists in electronics, mechanics, missilery, radio, and radar. They will enjoy steady advancement and the opportunity to further their education, perhaps even complete college, while in the service.
Today, there is a vital need for exceptionally trained and experienced young men to operate, service, and control the intricate equipment of the aerospace age. It is in these fields that a career in the U.S. Air Force has so much to offer the young man who can qualify. Your local Air Force recruiter will tell you if you have what it takes. Talk to him soon.
Status check. Range safety arm light on.
Affirmative.
Now back to Harry Wisner.
He's been called the Big O, the Wonderful O, and he's been called Oscar the Wizard. He was called the greatest sophomore in college basketball, the greatest junior in college basketball, and the greatest senior in college basketball. He led all major college scorers for 3 straight years, shattering every scoring mark in existence. His name is Oscar Robertson. In each of his 3 varsity years at the University of Cincinnati, he was a unanimous choice for the All-America team, and is the only Cager ever to be named Player of the Year 3 straight times. He is, without question, the best collegiate basketball player in the country, maybe even the best of all time. Oscar Robertson can do everything on a basketball court. He is graceful, durable, with a staggering variety of shots, a strong and stubborn rebounder, a skillful passer, and a player with an instinctive knowledge of what the game is all about. Most of all, Robertson can swish them through the hoop. As a sophomore, the 20-year-old Hoosier opened a lot of experienced eyes in his first year of varsity play. He led the tough Missouri Valley Conference in rebounding as well as in scoring, and he proved himself a fine defensive player. Oscar Robertson's first real splash of national publicity came after the game between Cincinnati and Seton Hall at New York's Madison Square Garden on January the 9th, 1958. The Garden has been a stumbling block for countless hotshot college players. The Big O did not let down his already imposing army of boosters. The Cincinnati Star put on the greatest one-man show in the history of Madison Square Garden's college basketball program, smashing the court record by pouring in 56 points, grabbing 15 rebounds, and receiving credit for 6 assists. He connected on 22 of his 32 shots from the floor, and he made all 12 of his free throws. He became the first sophomore to be named the Player of the Year. He led the nation in scoring with an average of 35.1 points per game, and his regular season total of 898 points was the most ever scored by a sophomore in major college competition. In his junior year, Oscar Robertson put on the same blistering offensive show that had caught national attention the year before, and he led the Cincinnati Bearcats to a 22-3 season record. In 30 games that season, including tournaments, he averaged 32.5 points per game and had a total of 978 markers. They thought Oscar Robertson had reached his peak, but he was even better in his third and senior year. In 26 regular games, all but one of them winning ones, Robertson tallied 890 points for a 34.2 average. It was on February the 7th, 1960, that Oscar Robertson turned in his peak performance. Playing against North Texas State, the Big O netted 62 points to smash the Missouri Valley Conference record of 57. College basketball is over for Oscar Robertson, but the marks he set in the collegiate ranks will be a long time remembered. There's something about Oscar Robertson that sets him apart. Away from the basketball court, his boyish face and his easy smile create a favorable impression. He has marked sincerity, friendliness, and unaffected honesty. He has innate intelligence. He is sensitive and aware that his prominence stems from the fact that he is a great athlete. People know me because I'm a basketball player, he says. When I will have left the basketball spotlight, I'd like to be remembered as Oscar Robertson, the man, not Oscar Robertson, the basketball player. Now, before we talk to Oscar Robertson and bring you one of the most exciting moments in his great college basketball career, here is a message of interest to all young men with an eye on the future. Here's some useful information for young men and women who are graduating from college. Your first few years after graduation are very important years. You can be earning good pay, building toward a secure future, and advancing your education. Yes, all these advantages can be yours if you qualify for officer training with the United States Air Force. As an Air Force officer, you'll be recognized as a leader, a man or woman of high mental, physical, and moral standards. And along with the important work you do for your country and the Air Force in the aerospace age, you'll enjoy excellent recreational facilities, as well as liberal vacation periods and the opportunity for world travel. If you are graduating from college, are between 20 and a half and 27 and a half years old, in good physical condition, make arrangements now for an interview with your Air Force recruiter. Ask about Air Force officer training. This can be your first step toward a bright future with the United States Air Force. This is Harry Wisner speaking to you from courtside at the University of Cincinnati Fieldhouse, where a standing room only crowd of more than 8,000 fans are on hand for this game between the Bearcats of Cincinnati University and the University of Houston Cougars. Timeout has been called here, with Cincinnati leading Houston by a score of 38-37, and we're in the early minutes of the second half. Oscar Robertson, the Big O, is of course the center of attraction tonight. Having already scored 16 points in this ball game, Robertson needs only another basket to establish a new collegiate scoring record now held by Dickie Hemrick of Wake Forest. Hemrick scored 2,587 points in 4 years of college play, and the Big O can break that mark in less than 3 years. What a ball player he's been. In his last game against North Texas State, Robertson broke the 3-year scoring record held by fabulous Frank Salvi, the Furman Flash, and now holds practically every scoring record here at the University of Cincinnati and also in the Missouri Valley Conference. This has been a hard-fought ball game, with Houston having led the Bearcats on 2 occasions in the first half. They were out in front by 1 and then by 3 before Cincinnati came back to lead by 1 point as the first half ended 34-33. Bearcat cheerleaders across the way have a big banner spelling out the number of points Robertson needs to break the scoring mark. And they won't have too long to wait because play is going to resume in just a moment. Now we're ready to go again. Cincinnati leads by 1, 38-37. Thompson of Houston will inbound the ball at midcourt. Now we're set. There's a pass into the right-hand corner to Luckenbill. He can't shoot. He passes back out to Gary Phillips of the Cougars, who gets off a one-hander from 20 feet out. No good. The rebound is grabbed off by Paul Hogue of Cincinnati. The Bearcats with the ball. They lead 38-37. Over to Robertson, to Carl Bolden, as they move that ball into the front court. Bolden leading the way on a 3-man pass break. Oscar is off to his right. There's Bolden faking to Davis. He passes to the Big O. There's Robertson driving. This could be it. He's triple teamed now by Thompson, Mulcahy, and Luckenbill. He's driving through. Up he goes. His layup is good. The shot by Oscar Robertson is good. The Big O has just scored his 17th and 18th points in the ball game to establish an all-time scoring record of 2,589 points, and this crowd has gone wild with excitement. They had 3 men on him, and still Robertson broke through to score. And it's now Cincinnati 40, Houston 37. But the big story is the record-smashing performance of Cincinnati's Oscar Robertson, who now has scored more points than any other college player in the history of the game. Listen to that crowd. Now, fans, here is just about the most exciting basketball player in the nation today. Oscar Robertson of the University of Cincinnati. Congratulations, Oscar. You've just set an all-time collegiate scoring record here tonight. What were some of the contributing factors in your being able to make this many points?
Well, some of the factors was the unselfish play on the part of my teammates and getting me the ball and for me to get those points, and I really appreciate it. And I think it's the ability of our coach to scout ahead for the opponents and tell us about their defense and the best way we can score on them. And I think that's about it.
Oscar, having played college ball against different styles of play in various parts of the country, what style of pattern of play was most troublesome for you?
Well, the style right now, I think it's Pete Newell from California with his sagging defense, how they double team quite a bit. And most of the coaches in the Missouri Valley, how they sag off in the middle and try to keep you from driving through in order for you to take the shot outside. And the zones are about the toughest defenses. But other than that, the sagging off and the zones, they're real hard on you.
And finally, Oscar, of all the players you've played against so far, what three have impressed you the most?
Well, that's pretty hard for me to answer, but I'll try to think back and let's see. I think Guy Rogers has impressed me quite a bit, and Bob Boozer and Darrell Imhoff. And there are quite a few more that I can't think of right now, but they are real tough. Just about every team we played had real good individuals on it, and they really showed up against us pretty good.
Thank you very much, Oscar Robertson, one of the nation's outstanding basketball players. And now for an expert opinion of what a top basketball coach thinks of Oscar Robertson, here is Joe Lopchick, a former pro coach and player, now the basketball coach of St. John's University. Joe, what made Oscar Robertson such a great collegiate basketball player?
I've never seen a player with this man's multiple abilities. First, he has sufficient speed, he has excellent hands, and he's one of the finest rebounders I've ever seen. But aside from that, being a rebounder defensively is not a very difficult thing to do, but being an offensive rebounder is difficult, and I've seen him do some tremendous work on the offensive board. And add to that, he can beat you inside or outside. By that I mean simply that he can go into the basket, work from the pivot line in, or he can shoot outside and beat you from there. And he can make the play. Now, this is a rare thing. He's not a koozie by any stretch of the imagination, but he's very able and very competent at making the play. Because of his greatness, he's been double-teamed on so many occasions and sometimes triple-teamed, and he can always find the loose man no matter what kind of a wall is built around him. And he is truly a tremendous dribbler, and his timing and his moves and deceptive moves and feints in there are something that everybody in the Garden, Madison Square Garden, comes for what? To see Oscar Robertson, because this is a different talent than we've had in New York in many, many a year.
Thank you very much, Joe Lopchick, basketball coach at St. John's University.
You have been listening to Tops in Sports, narrated by Harry Wisner and written by Arthur Suskin, Jr. This is a Gene Kirby production presented by the United States Air Force in cooperation with this station. The preceding was transcribed.